guys, this is Gosu Gamers. I'm Nydra. We are here with the lovely Rachel at the first day of CeBIT. So Rachel, it's still early in the event, but how are your spirits going?
Well, we've had a couple holds-ups because it's a brand new game, and they got to figure some stuff out. This is the first Heart of the Swarm Gold tournament, so it's going. But it's really interesting to see. We had the first matchup. It was Slivko and Lucifron, and they were already trying to find out whether they want to play Heart of the Swarm or they want to play Wings of Liberty, and it's kind of an in-between there. So it's really going to be interesting to see how the rest of these matches play out.
It's kind of sad that the game ended with a misclick. Did you see it?
Yeah, he pulled the drone away and the Lings got in.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. I hope the next games develop really proper Heart of the Swarm games. Hopefully we'll see more of that. So you are not, it's not that often that you sit on the other side of the mic, so I want to start at the very beginning. So how did you come into eSports? Where did you start? How did you become such a important host, basically? Because we see you everywhere, which is awesome. But how did this come to it?
Well, I was always into video games. We had them in the house. I played Nintendo, PlayStation growing up. So I really had a background in gaming, and it was natural. And then about 8 years ago, actually tomorrow will be my 8-year anniversary with Trevor Torch Houston. He's that redhead guy, did GSL for a while. He was really into competing in games and stuff when we first got together, and we would go to these trade shows, and back then they would do Digital Life and VG Expo and all these things that were mainly about showcasing products, kind of like CeBIT here, but they would have walk-up tournaments, and you could walk up and win headsets and all kinds of stuff. So he found out Team Fortress 2 was coming out, and he's like, I bet there's going to be a lot of giveaways, we should practice. And somehow that developed into us having a Team Fortress 2 team, and then going to events and competing, and it really was just so cool. So I would go to Envision, all these events that don't exist anymore, and it was awesome. So I really wanted to stick around in esports. I did WCG Ultimate Gamer, that TV show, and Call of Duty Friday Night Fights, that other crappy TV show. So, awesome TV show. And just kind of fell into place, I think.
You started as a journalist. You transitioned more as a host now. Do you miss doing serious journalism as opposed to traveling around the world, basically acting as a host?
Kind of. I still do my interviews, so when I go to an event, and I'm not working, I'm not hosting, I do interviews. Even when I am hosting, I still have to do some for my job, so I still have that, but I like hosting because I really want to help bring this to the mainstream, and I don't know if so much of what we do in esports is polished for the mainstream, and I know maybe I'm not 100% perfect, like a true esports fan. Maybe they don't always get behind me, but what I want to be is sort of the bridge between esports and mainstream media, and so that's what I've been working on. A lot of people in the industry, I follow DJ Wheat and things like that. They're big influences on me, so anything that I can do, I'll do it. I don't care if it's hosting or interviewing.
It's really sad that it's really strange that you're saying you're not 100% esports fan.
No. I'm 100% esports fan. This is my whole life. I'm just saying,
so I kind of misunderstood here. Okay.
Some people get mad because I don't know, the exact damage output of a Reaper. Well, I'm so sorry. I want to, but I play
neither do I. So good.
Yeah, I play 6 games, and I try and host, and I try and get esports as a whole out there. So maybe I'm sorry, StarCraft fans. I'm sorry, League of Legends fans, that I don't get everything so perfect. But I want you to know that I'm working, I'm studying, and I'm trying to mold all those things that we love and throw it out there for mainstream in a way that they can understand.
How long do you think it will take to push esports completely into the mainstream? I know that steps are done here and there, etc. Many people are trying to push it on TV, on regular newspapers, regular media. How long are we far away from considering esports a mainstream sort of entertainment?
Well, I think, the reason esports appeals to a lot of us, and specifically to our generation, is because, you can hear the casters, we grew up with video games. We're used to watching them. If I sit my parents down, they respect what we do. They love esports. They're so supportive of me, but they just can't make sense of what's happening on the screen. They're not used to looking at a health bar. They're not used to looking at an in-game timer. So, we have that advantage where we've been doing that our whole lives. And furthermore, traditional sports, like they don't do it for me. There's not enough going on. There's not enough possible strategies. Like I can't get that same awesome feeling of there's so much going on, it's mind blowing and it's awesome from video games. So I feel like when video game natives like us finally get into those positions, maybe 10, 20 years, I know it seems like a long time, but it's what we love. And when we get the chance to put it out there and help people understand it, then it's still like adults that control the mainstream media right now. Adults. I'm an adult.
We are all kind of.
But it's that kind of attitude where, like, it's seen as a childish thing, and it's not going to stop being seen that way until the children grow up that are involved in it, and then it's an adult thing.
You say it's a generation thing. Do you think if the production of esports was pushed back, say, 10 years ago, if we had this at 1990, for example, or year 2000, would it be different? Would it be more difficult? Would it be even possible to host events like this big, let's say, like a decade ago?
Well, you can always host events that are really big, and with enough promotion, you can fill all the seats of them. But having esports fans that really understand what's going on, that really are involved with the players, involved with the game, I think that had a lot to do with the internet and the internet communities. So, obviously there were huge internet communities 10 years ago, but it's not the same way for people to get together. I think now is really the perfect time. We have communities like Reddit, we have all the forum communities. These games are sensing how important an internet presence is, and that's when it's all this perfect storm of awareness and willingness to move forward. Back then, there were huge events. DJ Wheat did the hip-hop gaming thing one time, and they closed off a street in New York City. They were in Times Square. So, we need to go back to that almost, but we don't have... The fans that showed up to that are not the fans that come here today.
Do you think that the games a decade ago were also more different to become an esports and to grow those communities? Because I've been playing games for a long time, just as you. So, and I've been talking to friends, to colleagues, etc. So there is this opinion that, well, if Brood War was alive today, and if it was the primary sport, it wouldn't grow as big as StarCraft 2 is today, because we know like Brood War is very difficult. For example, so is Dota 1, etc., etc. Our audience will understand as compared to, for example, League of Legends. So do you think that how video games changed and how video games now approach the audience is something that helps integrating esports into the mainstream and into creating larger communities?
Well, I think first you have to consider what makes a game an esport, and that's public appeal and also balance, and having a game that when you're professional at it, you're far and away better than the average person. You need to have that skill gap in there. And other than that, I think the esports game market is completely open. Part of the reason I think I like video games, watching esports, is because it's new and it's exciting and it's flashy. And I tried to get into Counter-Strike back then, and I tried to get into Brew War. Like I said, Torch was big into that, and it just wasn't, totally visually appealing. So as long as games keep coming out, as long as they're exciting, I think they're always going to have a shot at esports. And if they're willing to put the money in and build the community, then they're going to have like a long-term fan base. And that's what I think a lot of game developers are really interested in right now. Like, they put out a game, Assassin's Creed, and it's done. The game comes out, everybody buys it, they play it, it's over in 2 months. But you make Assassin's Creed multiplayer and you balance it and you make it really nice, suddenly people are buying the same game for 2, 3, 5 years. It's really an appealing option for developers.
So I think you're basically saying that the developers that develop esports games are walking the right direction?
I think so. It's a couple different games are obviously taking different approaches. Like, there's a game, Firefall, and they have people from Blizzard working on that game. They have amazing esports personalities in their esports department. Why is it not an esport? I don't know. There's some heart missing. There's something missing that I can't explain. But
magic in
the magic. I don't know. But at the same time, like, Shootmania is another example. They're really trying to push it, and the community is not accepting it. So there's just something that has to click to make it happen.
Has to be a Counter-Strike, maybe?
Maybe. I don't even know. Go is still a problem, so we'll see how that goes.
Go is still young, though, so maybe there's hope for it.
It's still young. I think a lot of developers are waiting for that fanatic, oh my god, this is awesome. But even League of Legends took 3 years to get off the ground.
True.
So we'll see. I can't predict anything, or I would be paid a lot more.
So you've been traveling a lot, as we mentioned. You've been to MLGs, you've been to IEMs. How do, for example, the North American audience differ from the European audience in your eyes? If at all.
I mean, it's honestly, it's the same. You know, we have such a global community. There used to be, I think, big differences between, you know, maybe a European fan and an American fan, but really they're all the same fans logging onto the same websites, talking the same talk. And when it comes to events like this, like, they're the same. Everyone's, you know, into it. They're excited. There's so much cheering in MLG. There's so much cheering here. I don't know. It's great. All the fans are good.
It's not only events that you're traveling, circuiting, it's also games. At CeBIT you are hosting the StarCraft 2 event, but you are also known for casting League of Legends, for hosting League of Legends, sorry. How hard it is for you to transition from StarCraft 2 hosting to LOL hosting? What are the challenges that you are facing, etc.?
Well, the challenges are knowing the game. You know, in the ideal world, I would know every game as perfectly as the professionals who play it. And it's knowing the people. Like I think what I can do really well is create a connection and show like a personality. And when I don't know the player that well, that's a little bit harder. But still, you know, it's video games. I love it, and it's not that hard to talk about. So it's kind of more fun. I like having more games under my belt than fewer, and it's not too bad.
Would you say there's a difference between League of Legends personalities and StarCraft 2 personalities, like how they behave during interviews?
During interviews, no, but like I see a lot of variety in StarCraft personalities because you're one person. So you can be a happy person, a sad person, a lonely person, someone that gets along really well. It doesn't matter. You just have to play your one game and do that. League of Legends is, I think you have to be a bit more of a team person, someone a bit more willing to put ego aside and work things out. But again, like, as far as a person's personality, they're all just very excited. Everyone's different. Everyone has some interesting story to tell, a different way they got into eSports. And, you know, I never want to group people together. Everyone is a special snowflake, and they're all, you know, people you should get to know.
That's cool, that's cool. So, the tournament continues as we speak. It's about to end on the 9th. The StarCraft 2 tournament. What are your predictions about this particular event? Who do you think will take it? We've been talking to people. They say, "Oh, Koreans, they have been practicing like crazy." But you know, we talked actually to Wytra just last night. He said, "Well, if foreigners don't screw up, they can win. They can actually win this." So, do you see this as a possibility? Are Koreans undefeatable, unbeatable? Which foreigner must we watch carefully? Because
well, I mean, it's hard to think about because I just don't know what kind of practice each person has got. I would want to say the guys at IEM, like anyone from Korea had the opportunity to train for the GSTL, the Heart of the Swarm tournament they did. So they have a really good shot right there because they've been focused with their team all on the same thing. I feel like a lot of the foreigners don't have that same kind of team unity availability, that pool of resources. But at the same time, someone like Grubby, who's used to working on his own, has had time to do his homework, has had time to take notes, and that's what really makes him powerful. So I would be, you know, not surprised at all if Grubby is the one to come out of his group because he's got that type of preparation that allows him to take control of Heart of the Swarm when these guys have, you know, maybe come in, played a few games, and then they lost access to the beta and, oh, well, I'll just see how I do. Otherwise, I'm rooting for Violet always. Violet's my bro. So I'm fingers crossed he gets out of his group.
You said that the Koreans have been having more practice than the foreigners for StarCraft 2. For League of Legends, I think it's the other way around, though. Like, the Korean scene is now quiet. The OGN is over. The NLB is over. So the Koreans are not having tournament exposure right now. But at the same time, LCS Europe going full power. Europeans constantly playing with each other. Do you think that the thing is reversed with the League of Legends tournament, like the foreigners entering this as favorites? Because we've seen like they were actually entering the favorites at Poland. Then Gambit came, said no, took some money home. So
I think it's a mistake to think that the Asian leagues have shut down. I mean, they're still going. It's that Riot is focused on NA and EU, and I mean, just those guys in Korea know how to practice. You know, they've really got it down to a science. But again, it's a team game. So I mean, they have the advantage where I don't think there are a lot of egos, on the Korean teams. They're used to kind of putting that aside for the sake of victory. But Europe is getting competitive practice. They're playing nonstop. NA is playing nonstop. I would say, of the two, I really enjoy the European games a lot. NA is kind of like, it's really exciting, but let's see,
What makes Europe?
I still think, Koreans and Taipei Assassins and the guys in China, like they're working really hard and really scientifically at this. So I really like to see how that approach comes against let's just play a lot and they do their team focused practice in Europe, but I always side with the Koreans. I always side with the Asian teams. I'm sorry.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong there.
Take Apollo out of my ear again. I'm just making sure they're not.
Why do you enjoy LCS Europe games more? Like, different playstyles?
I'm a big fan of Team EG. I love them when they were CLG EU, and I feel like maybe I have more connection there to follow. But I feel like they innovate more. I've seen a lot of really creative things out of European LCS. They're really not afraid to come in with a very practiced innovation, where I feel like in NA, when they innovate, it's kind of like, we'll do a zillion. Yeah, that works. And I'm like, oh, come on. Did you practice this? Did somebody think this out? Like, there was a Leona jungle that I was like, what am I watching? This is a 4v5. Like, so, I don't know.
Hopefully, both tournaments go well. I really hope that we can see some amazing games. Yes. So, thank you for having us. This was Nydra, Ghost Gamers, and with Rachel here, we'll bring you more coverage as CeBIT goes on. Thank you.
Thank you.